So we're gonna let everything populate up. But yeah, man. I need also you give us an update on everything that's going on because you just went through, the last several weeks. It's been crazy for you.
Right.
You know, hey, I wasn't down there with you to go through it with you, but
I feel that.
some people need to hear it. Some people need to hear it from a person that's down there versus hearing it from, you know, other other groups that's not being represented down there. So,
I
but
got
fuck
you.
it,
I
let's
got
get
you. Got
so we can get it started. What's going on, everyone? This is Brother Brian. We coming to y'all. Let me put my phone on silent. I don't want to get disturbed.
you.
Another podcast of the Three Headed Monster. I'm Brother Brian. This is my buddy. I ain't even calling him my sidekick. He's just we just we work like Jordan and Pippen. We need each other to make it work. But Brother Jerome, Uncle Love. But yeah, we bring another podcast to you. I know the things that's going on in this country is getting kind of crazy, and it's gonna get a lot worse before it gets better. But this election, I don't like talking about it. I don't like discussing it because only thing you getting is from you're not even getting the full view of it. You're just hearing it from somebody else's point of view versus assessing things for yourself and you taking your ride with it. I don't. I'm not Democrat or I'm nor Republican, so you know we. I mean, we have discussed it, but it just to the fact is it gets ugly when you're trying to discuss politics, and politics is crazy. Um, but if you study history, you see things reenact each other. You see it touches a little bit of this, it touches a little bit of that. Again, this is our opinion. This is only our opinions, and we can only bring you what we feel. So you only hearing it from our point of view of what we see. So most people will take it and run with it or take it and makes it bigger than what it is. The way the country is already super sensitive to a lot of different things and a lot of different avenues of how we see things. Our world is changing. I can't say for the better or for the worse, but I just knowing that it's more information out here for you to search and find things. And I mean, but at the same time, our we have had podcasts in the past that we put out literature, we put out information, and we really show you that our history that we was taught was not true, or it was fibbed to a certain point that it shows a light. It makes somebody look better than what it is. Humanity is humanity. Um, Everybody's trying to show themselves superior to another, which that is not what the universe is. This is not what the Most High created. This is just something that man has evolved into to a certain extent. So when we're gonna get into, for one, we're gonna do a check in with Uncle Love because Uncle Love is from that area that got hit by Hurricane Alina. Was it Alina?
Elena, yeah.
So we're gonna let him give you because he is from that area. We are from that area that got hit. I'm just happen to be in Philadelphia, but I do have two daughters as part of that area in North Carolina. And Jerome, where he raised his family in that same area of North Carolina. So before we get into what we're gonna get into, let's do a check in with you, Jerome. How you doing, man?
Man, all is well. Glad to be back on. It's been a minute. Um, First and foremost, I want to welcome all our Facebook family, welcome all our YouTube family. Um, as always, don't believe anything that we tell you. Take this information, research it for yourself, find your truth, come back to us. Let's politic, let's talk about it, and let's go forward. Um, and as far as the area, man, it was a widespread devastation as far as trees falling on houses, trees falling on power lines. I was out of power for 8 days.
Mm.
Um, some people were out longer. Um, it was 40, I-40. That's parts of it that's going to be down a couple of years just
Mm.
because half of the road fell in.
Wow.
Um,
That's a major road too. That's a
yeah,
major road.
especially for truckers.
Yeah.
And so you got a disruption in transportation. You had a disruption in communication. You had a disruption in power, in the power grid. So it's a lot of things going on that this area was not uh, used to. Let me just say it like that. Um, Luckily, there was not a whole lot of lives lost, but it was a tremendous blow to the south. Um, but we're back in order. There was no gas shortages or nothing like that, so everybody had could move around. Let's say that, and it was a good time for everybody coming together and working together, um, strengthening each other as we all do in these tragedies. But as far as that, uh, everything's good for the most part now. It's just a lot of cleaning up still going on.
Yeah. I mean, for most people to understand that, Jerome, was you born in that area? Born in that part of North Carolina?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I
That
was.
so we're looking at north. Well, for me, it'd be because I'm from Gaffney, 45 minutes from that
Yeah,
area,
yeah.
which I'm down south. Um, yes, a lot of people did was out of power. I think that was the worst of it, other than falling trees and everything. These are reports I'm getting from my children and other family members. So, but my daughters, they are okay. But that part of North Carolina is the area that you're from, that
That's
you was
correct.
born in, and what you see on the news is kind of crazy because you only seeing it from a one-sided view.
Right,
Um, if you ever been in that area, it is. I'm where I'm from is the beginning of the foothills to the Appalachian Mountains. I'm at
right,
the beginning stages that it starts to get the hilly part. Asheville is still going up that mountain,
right.
and Asheville is built on top of a mountain. And if anybody wanted also to know that, I also, if you ever noticed on the North Carolina symbol, especially when it has the Tar Heel, um, a lot of people need to understand that the natives there wore Blackfoot. Um, that's another thing a lot of people don't understand, that Blackfoot is that area is was a heavily populated area for indigenous people and tribes. So I'm glad you're back on because I think we was going on that that weekend. It was me, you, and Tut was going back. Was going to do something, but I couldn't. It's because you was out of power. Um, a lot of people was on generators, and it's kind of more of a. I'd rather let you deal with your family situations versus trying to put some stuff out there. But I'm glad you're back, man. I'm glad you're back. So um, a lot of people need to understand we don't do stuff for views. This is just us talking. This is us on the phone having a conversation. Our conversation somehow become intellectual so fucking quick, and we get to talking about stuff. And then again, this is if you're new to the show, this is how we are. This is how me and Jerome talk when we on a normal basis. We both North Carolina Tar Heel fans, so basketball season is on. Um, but I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. He's a Cowboys fan, so we still strifing until the end of January. So January is when we become right before the ACC, regional place, the conference place start happening. So, but I'm glad my brother's good and everything.
No doubt.
But what I wanted to get into is I feel like history is starting to repeat itself, and a lot of people just don't know, or then a lot of stuff they don't teach you. And this is where economics, government economics, is something that they should put in the schools, but they won't put it in the schools, because if you put it in the schools, it's going to cause a reaction that they're not ready for. Because the more educated people are, or what more people know, they won't just listen to people just blabber, blabber, talk, 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 and get you all gushy and feeling inside, because you can only be your own victim of lack of knowledge. Knowledge is power,
True.
and something that, because I'm gonna see something. I see so many different parallels when I see how things are. I see Julius Caesar rise, the rise of Julius Caesar when Christianity was born, or how Christianity become Christianity,
Right.
um, when church runs the government. If a lot of people don't know, that was the case back in the old Roman days, back in I can't forget what era it is. It's early thousands. 13? Was it not 13?
You talking about the Roman Empire?
Yeah, when Julius, not Julius
Nah,
Caesar, that wasn't Julius Caesar I'm thinking about. So,
you
uh,
talking about
Constantine, Constantine,
around the
Constantine.
time that they count as, I guess, what, AD now,
Yeah,
the beginning
Constantine,
of it. Yeah.
Constantine. I'm thinking
Remember
Constantine.
the remember the Romans had a part of killing Jesus.
Yeah. So we
From
trying
the
to,
story now, from the story.
which is
Go ahead.
crazy.
Go ahead.
Um, but we see the rise and power of church, and how church run things, and how politics and church intertwine. But it was something
Oh,
that. Go ahead.
let me interject with you. Um, so you said the Roman Empire and then the church, right?
Know how the church became powerful, that they ran the government in
Okay.
a
What I'm
sense.
saying, the
Mhm.
Roman Empire became the Vatican, became the
Yes.
church. But go ahead.
Yeah. Which is true. You can go ahead, and if you want to elaborate, go ahead, man. I ain't gonna stop you.
No, no, you setting it up. I just want people to know that the Roman Empire, they said it failed, but it never failed. It just transitioned into the Vatican or the Roman Catholic Church.
And we see in that, not saying dismantle, but see the discretions that they're going through, because I think they just paid LA, a bunch of people in LA, like 188 million.
Oh, that I think it was 1.7 billion, what
Yeah.
total?
Yeah, it's my bad, billion, for some of the alleged sex acts that was going on. So,
Alleged.
well, if you're paying money out of there, you not, I can only say alleged, because I don't know.
Alleged.
trying to be correct to a certain extent.
Nah, you saying it right.
But
Alleged.
somehow I was doing some research, and I came across the Repatriation Act of 1929, and I was like, why is they talking about that so much? All right, so I'm pulling it up for you so we can read it together.
Pull it up.
Uh, can you see it? Is it up?
Yeah, it's up.
Is it still up?
Yes.
All right, so the Mexican Repartization Act program was a government-sponsored program that forcibly removed people of Mexican ancestors from the United States between the year 1929 and 1936. This program was the result of the Great Depression, and was based on race, not citizenship. Interesting.
Right.
The estimate of number of people ranged between 300,000 to 2 million, with 40 to 60% being United States citizen. Hmm. So what this act is doing is, they say the program was widely blamed for the risk based on the into the economy. downturn of the Great Depression. So you saying this was a reason? So now we going back. So reason why I say is history repeating itself. They taking your jobs. They come to take your jobs. They come to it's that fear again that America's economy is going through what it's going through because of immigration. And when I seen this act, and I'm saying like, wow, they turned around and they deported 2 million, and Mexicans, Mexico, or just say Native Americans, or you can say indigenous Americans, because everybody got to understand, Mexico was all the way up to California, Washington, Nevada, Arizona. It was the Spanish War. I forgot what year that was the reason why we end up getting what we have now. But
Mm.
oh, well, you gave me that look right. You,
No, go ahead, finish.
no, because now we seeing something because you blaming the Great Depression on immigration,
Right,
and we in the year 2024, and we're hearing the same thing. We're
right.
going through a Great Depression. We're letting all these illegals in. We're letting all these immigrants in. We're letting all these immigrants in. Our country is going all to shit. But when I turn around and I was explaining to you, I think I said it again. I said it in the past. When you look up the Great Depression of 1929, same year that this act became in, during the Great Depressions, it's the pictures that I see that got me curious of who did it really affect it.
Right.
But I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna let you get in. I'm gonna let you get in because you're gonna let me keep going, and they say no, you ain't gonna say
I
nothing.
am.
But
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
let you keep going. I want you to lay out everything that you want to talk about.
No, because I see that we're again we are blaming you can say race of people, but it's not a race of people. It's just a different color,
Right.
um, different culture of people. It's mostly culture, and we
Right.
using that as a bait. So for you to round up that many people and you ship them back to an area that they didn't have no recognition of, and then 40 to 60% of them were American because you looked a certain way. Sound like that what's going on today. So is it the United States nation, this nation of states that have this prejudice towards, because I'm thinking what jobs are they coming for? Because I don't know, do you see where you at,
Uh,
do you see a lot of people
you
that
talk about here in today's time.
yeah.
They're not coming for any jobs. I mean, that doesn't make sense. That's a scare tactic, which a certain sector of America uh, is always run by fear. Fear
Mhm.
drives them to vote a certain way. Fear drives them to uh, buy guns. Fear drives them to buy security systems. Fear drives them to buy bunkers. Fear drives them to vote in a manner that is separative for the United States. Now, I want to say this because you was
Yeah.
talking about you was talking about this act. I
Mhm.
think it was 1929.
1929, the same year of the Great Depression.
All right, same year as the Great Depression. I want to get all my dates correct
Mhm.
because it's interesting that United States went to war with Britain in 1776. Correct.
Mm. Uh-oh.
So they went to. Now I'm just saying because everything you was talking about, this is how you can find it in the book,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
So just check this out. So in 1776, America had the Revolutionary War, and they
true.
had to fight with Britain, and
Mhm.
they lost men. Correct.
Mhm.
All right. Shortly, 1812 went back to war. the War of 1812 with Britain,
Yeah.
even though they were already in peace.
Uh-huh.
So they went war, lost more men,
Uh-huh.
right? So 1845 was the American-Mexican War. 1845. So if it's a war, you had casualties then. I'm sure they had casualties on both sides, right? Then, not 20 years later, in 1865, you had the Civil War. Hell, we started fighting with ourselves.
Uh-huh.
And you had casualties on both sides.
Facts.
Now, I'm trying to figure out how we were going to war so much and how we were able to move forward if we was at war this much.
Okay.
And then 1867, for a 10-year period, you had the Reconstruction, right? So you're talking about 1880s when you were normalized. Well, you were already back at World War in 1919. Then you had the Great Depression in 1929. Then you had World War II in 45 or 44. So I'm saying, if all these things were truly happening, you know, why are you worrying about moving people out?
Mm.
If all this destruction and all this was happening, there was no breaks in this. All this is like back to back to back to back.
I mean, when you look at it, it's crazy. You put them dates down, it is crazy.
So if you ask me, oh, I'm glad you did, Brian. You've been so fooled about what history is.
Uh-huh.
First of all, the Revolutionary War. Let's go back to that because this all ties together. The Revolutionary War, 1776. They tell you that we went to war with Britain. I don't know if y'all read the book correctly. Y'all know Britain was winning, right? The United States did not win the Revolutionary War. So what they done, they came up with, instead of taxing you, overtaxing you, or everything, they worked out a plan to where you could pay, and it was easier for you to pay.
In other words, so we still.
We're still paying them.
No, it ain't that is. It's still.
It's still that we still have debt to the crown.
So we are a colony of England.
Allegedly.
It's getting interesting.
Allegedly.
No, because
think about it. You went to war. If y'all would have defeated Britain straight up, why'd you go back to war of 1812?
What was the reason why we went to war?
1812?
No, 76.
Oh, 76. They always say taxation without representation, right?
But don't we do that now?
No, you have representation. We just don't vote correctly because we don't really care who's put in office.
So it's taxes then.
Yeah.
And now we're fighting over taxes now.
Yes.
Depends on who you supposedly vote for.
Correct.
But we broke away. We somewhat say it is more to that Revolutionary War that a lot of people don't know. People will say it's for taxes. It was more of the America wanted to expand.
Yeah, but check this out, dude.
But hold on. Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
They wanted to expand on an area that just got hit by the hurricane.
I got you.
Because they didn't have Florida.
No.
And they wanted to go past the Appalachian Mountains, which the
Correct.
British told them, which under the treaties, they wasn't supposed to go past.
True.
So most people thinking it's this way when it's like, no, go back and read. Go back and read. Stop reading. So you gotta get deep into some of these books. God damn it, I wish I had the books. You're gonna make me run downstairs and grab some books. But it would explain to you that it was a the peace treaty of.
You talking about Morocco, the treaty with Morocco?
Yeah, you can say the Moorish Empire at the time. Why are you having a treaty with
allegedly?
allegedly, but you haven't. It's saying you have it in treaty with the Moorish, which is also Mason.
Well, well,
Mason is also also part of the Mason start of the Freemason here in America. But
that it
you
started an adaptation of the
yeah
Masons in America. It
yeah
was the European version. But
yes.
but here's the thing. Now that treaty, the peace and friendship treaty of
Okay, I'm
17,
gonna bring it up.
1778, I think.
I'm gonna bring it up.
It's the peace. I know it's the peace and friendship treaty. But anyway, now think about it like this, B.
Mhm.
So a lot of people think America was a vacant land with a few people that ran around that had lion cloths on their genitals. But that was far from the case. Um, what you call the United States was already an established country. It already had cities. It already had people. Um, this whole war, I'm not saying it was fabricated, allegedly. I'm just saying it doesn't make sense because um, the cities are built too quickly. Chicago, anything that's past the Mississippi, that's built too quickly. Because you're talking about by the 1800s is when um, this whole, let's say, the Revolutionary War had wore out, right? And
Mhm.
so the purchase of the Louisiana is what changed everything, because you got France being bankrupt by Haiti, right? And this
By
is
who?
18
Whoa,
by
by who?
Haiti, by Haiti.
Oh, that's that shithole country again.
Yeah, the shit whole country,
No,
alleged.
because
But
there's. But go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
but so they're bankrupting France. France needs money. How is it that you just went through a war with Britain, but you got enough money to purchase the middle part of the United States?
Where's all this money coming from?
Exactly. You just been war torn. Revolutionary War with the largest empire in the world.
French and Indian War. But keep
But
going.
yet you have the money to purchase the middle portion of the United States. Now, here's the interesting thing. It's not the Mexican War, which granted you Florida. It's not, because Spain at that time didn't have any money either.
Hmm.
And so holding on to Florida and holding on to the California province didn't make sense. France had already sold their portion and got money. You can't allow France to have more money than you when your neighbors. Spain and France are neighbors, so you gotta have to get your portion of money. So they sold out, and this is what created the United States. Is business deals is what created United States.
On
Now,
land that they don't own. But go ahead.
right now, interestingly enough, like I
Mhm.
told you, this is the 1800s, this is the mid 1800s, correct?
Yeah.
Once the United States established itself as a whole country, you have to break out or destroy the remnants of the old nation.
Ooh.
So, what you don't understand during this Civil War, as they say, allegedly, they say they were fighting each other. Were they really? Or were they destroying the history, the Americas that was here? Because think about it, almost every major city in the United States, not just the city, but in the world, burned down in the 1800s.
Mm.
How is that possible? Every city burned down? Chicago, New York, Atlanta, LA, Philadelphia, every city in the United States burned down and had to be rebuilt. Then you had um, a new system established over top of an old system that was already here. Okay, I give you a perfect example. So 1776, you talking about revolutionary breakaway from Britain. So you hadn't been getting your money because Britain had been taking all your money, right, for the last 100 years. How did y'all build cities? Because Philadelphia was the first capital of the United States. How'd y'all build this city? You were at war, allegedly. And you were being overtaxed prior to the war. So you're not keeping your money. So that's why you mad and wanted to go to war. Who building these cities for free?
Nobody. I'm looking up what cities, because I mean you have the biggest one is Black Wall Street, which is 1921. That's of Tulsa.
No, I'm talking about major cities. Look at when New York burnt down. Look at when Chicago burnt down. Look at when LA burnt down.
All right, I'm gonna pull them up. Give me a minute. Give me a minute.
All right.
All righty. Let's see. How far are we going back? How far are we going back? Because it shows a lot. It shows
Didn't I tell you? Every city burnt down. Look at the 1800s. Just look at the 1800s.
All right, let me do United States Massacre. 1800s. Keep going. I'm looking.
Oh, okay. So I'm looking through some myself. Okay, so So you're talking about in the early 1800s when the war of 1812 happened. Buffalo burnt down, York burnt down, Washington burnt down.
Actually, if you want to, the Boston Massacre was a big one. This so-called Boston Tea Party.
Right.
Everybody keeps thinking that it was just this and that. No, it was a lot of the history that we've been taught is not what we keep
It's
thinking.
not factual. 1821, Fayetteville, North Carolina, which was a big city then. It was destroyed. Augusta, Georgia, 1829. Fayetteville burnt down again in 31. New York City had its second fire in 1835. Charleston, South Carolina, 38. This is just on the coast.
Wall Street.
Pittsburgh burnt down 1845. I mean, you could go on and on and on. St. Louis, 1849. Toronto, 1849. San Francisco, 1851. Newcastle in England, 54. San Francisco, 1863. So you got Atlanta, 1864. Columbia, South Carolina, 1865. Richmond, Virginia, 1865.
Okay.
Quebec, 1866. I mean, I could go on and on for days. And they all at the same time. Chicago, 1871. The Great Michigan Fire, 1871, same time as Chicago being burned down. Boston, 1872. Hong Kong, 1878. Huh?
I'm trying to get all that so I can pull that up.
Oh, okay. I just typed in Great Fires, and then it gave me the list of the towns and cities and when they are, and it's from 16th century to 21st century.
Okay.
So, and I just clicked on the 1800s because I knew during the 1800s they were burning everything for a purpose. So they were hiding your history. I said, your history. B.
I got you.
America.
In America. In America.
and and to hit on your point when you was talking about the act that removed the Mexicans, um, that was a shift. Go ahead.
That was no, that was one because it's more. You have when you have the acts of when they removed all the Japanese. It's another act of 1945
Yeah, when
that
they
they
when they
removed all
uh,
the
when they
Filipinos.
put them in concentration camps, the
But they had an
Japanese.
act that they had to remove all the Filipinos and send them back home. So
Right.
if we consider America as a melting pot of people, come here, bring your rich, bring your poor, so we can kick them out because we don't like them. Then we
Allegedly,
get the government, and then we get the government to enforce this.
of course.
It's why are we trying to set ourselves to go backwards? Because is that not what we're trying to do now? Are we not trying to find ways to blame other ethnicities of saying you're the reason why this country is going this way and going that way?
Uh,
And
a country goes a way that it goes because of the policies and laws. Because people are going to follow the policies and laws. So if policies allow certain things, then the people are going to do whatever they're allowed to do.
mm,
So you have to look more at what the policies and laws for each, um, from city to county to state.
dude, that was deep when you the fires. God damn.
I mean,
You
see,
see the
and like I said, all these fires are going on. So you got to fight fires and you're going to war. You're putting that kind of strain on the country, but yet we're still purchasing half of America, purchasing the rest of America. Come on, man. That don't make sense. That's like that's like me telling you, hey B, your garage caught on fire and burnt to the ground, but you bought two new cars.
hold up, I got one for you. I'm about to share the screen.
All right.
I'm looking at this. It's crazy. So we have Great Fire in New York, broke in forces. You have to have somebody to blame, but
Look, thousands of buildings.
while others
Chicago.
accuse American patriots of attempting to destroy the city in order to prevent the British from enjoying it. Okay.
Because they were winning.
Great Patriots. Okay, let's go with that. Great Fire. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Great Fire, Chicago. It's 1970, and actually, a Haitian man found Chicago because he made a treaty with the Indians of that area, but that's a whole different story. Haitian man, Chicago Fire. So we got the Great Wall, Chicago Fire. Damn, it is in the 1800s. When did we have time to do any damn thing?
Yeah.
I'm fucking fighting wars when we got these
I
fires.
tried to tell you,
No,
man.
I'm just saying it in the sense of it makes sense.
Right.
Fire of 111, the mattress, a pillow of mattress suffered in Jacksonville, Florida. Mm, wow,
And these are not small fires. You're talking about thousands of buildings every time something get burned up.
that's Florida. San Francisco, Texas City. Mm.
Bro, I'm telling you, it was all across the country. And that there was a purpose to it because like I said, fire is the great equalizer. You can get rid of a lot of things.
It's
Uh,
either fire, like, oh yeah, great point. Fires or floods.
right.
Floods. What did they do? Well, how did all that water get in that area where you from? Did they not release the dam?
I I I I can't
Allegedly.
speculate.
Allegedly.
I
They
can't
showed it on.
speculate.
They showed the video.
Yeah, I can't speculate. I don't know for sure.
So when you release the dams, you got to understand it's cities that's protected from the dam. Because the dam is up, you're able to have certain areas of population when you have to
True.
release certain water because it would have been the same thing as what happened in Louisiana, New Orleans. It was about to be the same type of situation. So it's kind of like I can have a little casualty, or I'm about to flood this whole damn area and take the whole northwestern part of North Carolina off the map. But again, a lot of our cities was been flooded out. So like the cities that the lake that's in Georgia, when you cross in Georgia to South Carolina, coming down I-95 from Atlanta, Georgia. If you're going I-5, 95, either you're going south from South Carolina
85.
into Georgia,
85.
85.
Yeah.
Hold up, what I forgot what's the name of it. Lake Bowen? It's not Lake Bowen, is it?
I'm not certain. But I know the lake you're talking about. I mean, there's a lot of cities on the lakes, black cities.
What's up, Marvin? My bad. I forgot to say shout out to Marvin. What's going on, man?
Oh, I
And
gotta look.
yeah, I know it's greetings, blessings, peace, and blessings to you, sister. We find out fires and floodings of territories. Mm. And that's facts. It's facts. That's what we deal with. But again, why tell you that? Why tell you every lake? If you go through every lake that has a dam, something was there before that dam got put there. So either that dam is
Um,
create. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I didn't see his question. He said, "Was I saying that the Civil War was a war against indigenous people?" Um, the war has never stopped against indigenous people. If you look at um, just study
Wait
Andrew
a minute. Wait a
Jackson.
minute. Back up. Hold up. Who are the indigenous people?
Who are the indigenous people? Indigenous
You
and
say they're
not,
still going on today.
I got you. Indigenous and not native. There's a difference between the two.
Okay.
Indigenous, I'm speaking of those people that are heavily melanated. Um, part of the children of the sun. Um,
Mm,
when I say Native Americans, I mean those that have been given that designation for right now. That some of them have been subjugated to reservations. That's when I speak of natives. But when I speak of indigenous, I'm talking about those that are heavily melanated. And there's always been a war against the ones that were here, the ones that had built, the ones that have created this country. Um, that's been the whole. Um, you mentioned Masons. The European Masonic presence in the United States is to keep the secret of who was here prior to them coming.
mm,
The Smithsonian was created to collect and subjugate and subdue all information about the people that were here prior to them coming, allegedly. Um, so, yes, I am saying that the war was against our people because
well,
the war has never stopped. You can give it different names, but like I said, study um, Andrew Jackson. This war that he had that lasted 50, well, the war itself, not him, but the war itself lasted 50 years during the mid 1800s. A lot of people like to call it the Seminole Wars, but Andrew Jackson himself called it the Black Wars.
mm,
So, how are you going to war in the middle 1800s and did the Mexican American War and started the Civil War? How is this possible? You were just coming off the War of 1812. How did you have the Seminole War all in the middle of all these wars going on?
God damn it, John. See, you got me doing this right here because that don't make no damn sense. Mm, make it make sense. I don't know. That's deep. That's fucking. That's damn. That's deep. Because and then also His sister saying the Army Corps flooded my. I don't know how to say that tribe name. What area is that? And build energy plants to charge the people free energy. What area is that um, from that tribal area? Because I can tell you now, me being from South Carolina, we are Chippewa, Chickasaw. My dad's family is of Cherokee. I did ask my uncle, my great uncle, why would we go ahead and register? He was like, "For what? What is it going to do for us? Nothing." So that's
They're
why,
not gonna let you rest anyway.
yeah. So because I'm one of the darkest in my family. Um, just
Well,
because of my mom, on my mom's side. I mean, on my
it
dad's
ain't
side,
just
and
because
one
you're
of,
dark. It's because they know that we're figuring it out,
yeah.
and they don't want an influx of people. They
Oh,
were allowing it up in. You talking about the Cherokee that were in Upper North Carolina? They
yeah.
were allowing it till about 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. Um,
Wow.
but see, here's the thing, B. Cherokee is not a tribe.
It's a nation. It's a group.
Yeah, it's a group of several different tribes that they collected together to say if y'all say y'all are civilized, then you would get government assistance.
Ah, she
So
said
they're one of the 5 civilized tribes in the United States.
she's saying from the Alabama, Oklahoma area. That's deep. Wow.
Yeah, that's where our brother is from, Oklahoma area. He hadn't got on here in a while, but
That's, oh, brother. I'm sorry. I'm bad with names. I'm bad with names, people. I'm bad with my kids' names. So I don't think that I just won't names don't pop up so much
right.
in my head that I will forget a name in a heartbeat. If I don't talk to you on a normal, I will forget who the hell you are and be like, hey, what's his name? What's his name?
Wathro.
Yeah, brother Rothro. Ah, but no, but the reason why I brought up this whole weapons this whole act of 1812 because what else went down in that same area is the Great Depression of 1929. But I was like, wait a minute. So we went through a depression, but then I went and looked in Paris Island, Ellis Island, Ellis Island. It serves as a nation major immigration station from 1892 to 1924. After this road, it was reduced, and during that period, it estimated 12 million immigrants passed through. So when we go through how many, during this period of time, many are from Southern and Northern Europe. Funny to keep saying, all these black people come from West Africa, but that's a whole different story, which includes Russian, Italian, Slavic, slaves, interesting, Jewish, Greek, Polish, Serbs, and Turks. It's a lot of damn people.
But um, with this, you gotta put things in perspective, right? So if you're talking about the early 1900s, that was a huge immigration laws were huge about bringing people over here because they needed to balance out the population. Now, if you're balancing out the population, correct,
Why are
then
you balancing out?
that's what I'm. That's where I'm
Okay.
going with it. So if
All
you're balancing out the population, who are you balancing it out?
right.
You just said they removed
Two million.
2 million Mexicans, right? But you
Okay.
said 12 million people came in, right? And balance it out, especially now if you look at the percentage of how many Mexicans are here in the United States. That wouldn't have balanced it out. Who are you balancing that out against? You're not balancing it out against the so-called Native Americans. They barely represent what 1% of the population of America now.
Mm.
So you wasn't trying to balance it out because of them. So then there's these melanated people the story says that were all brought from Africa.
Ooh. Uh-oh.
Now it makes sense of why you're trying to balance it out and get the numbers. The area that our sister is talking about in Alabama, Alabama, uh, South Carolina,
Georgia.
Mississippi were majority black states in
Don't
the
forget
mid 1800s.
Georgia. Georgia was too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In
Okay.
mid 1800s,
Uh-huh.
mid 1800s, B. So you start bringing people in to balance out the population. When was the Indian Removal Act?
1920, no, 18. All right, let me research. God damn it, Jerome.
You on that? You on the computer? Do
I'm doing it.
it. Indian Removal Act, 18.
Wait a minute. 1830.
Wow, 1830. So in between all these wars and all these fires, you're removing Indians.
You
That's a
burning down
lot
these
to
cities.
do for people that were outnumbered, right?
You was burning down these cities and taking their land.
Indian Removal Act, ain't that? And then see, the law is on your side because it's the Indian Removal Act.
But if we don't go for your law, because there's a difference when you're trying to enforce something that's not yours. But you can sit there and say we have this piece of paper saying this is ours. Because I mean, you gotta understand it was a lot of, because we also did a study about Delaware and how Delaware became, and Pennsylvania became what it is because of certain groups that wanted, certain people in the tribe wanted to be the top dog, and what they found ways to go around the elders and sold the land behind their back.
I got you.
But
But let me say this.
we keep going.
Let's not get caught up in Indian stories.
I mean, I'm saying when
No,
I
no,
say
no.
that, I'm
Listen.
saying,
No. Let me make my point. I get back to you. I'm not taking anything away from it. I
got it.
said, listen to what I'm saying.
Mhm.
So, what if Britain, the empire, was backing the settlers here, and all these wars that you hear are just stories, something that you could write about history. But truly, what was happening, they were removing the people of this land. And
We
see,
always say slavery is reverse.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a heartbeat.
But I'm trying. Let me see. I might not be making my point big enough.
Go
So
ahead.
let's say that America was and I use the term black so we can understand that it was a black country.
Hmm.
You had a peace treaty that allowed you in.
Hmm.
Once you got in, the overseeing empire brought troops and people to eradicate and genocide the people of this land. But you can't put genocide in history.
Mm.
So what you read about, there was a war in 1776 with Britain, and you believe that these 13 colonies of people that wasn't warriors fought the empire of Britain, which Britain was an empire then, it was all around the world, fought an empire into a stalemate to where this empire said, you know what, go ahead and stay. We ain't gonna mess with y'all. At the same time, they had the money to purchase the rest of the land and then go back to war in 1812.
Oh, can I throw something at you? Can I
Go
throw?
ahead.
Can I throw? Hey, you forgot something of 1918.
1918,
You forgot something.
the Spanish flu.
The Spanish.
I didn't forget it. Hey, that's germ warfare, baby.
So we have the Spanish flu. We fighting a world war.
Yeah.
We help. We assisting. We assisting. Fighting a world war. And a lot of people need to understand World War One wasn't Hitler. Hitler was World War Two. But that's a whole different story. Um, you bringing in people again. The Spanish flu, 1919. I just said that people from Paris Island was coming in from 1890, 1892 to 2019. Hmm, during the Spanish flu situation. So who's bringing in the germs? But that's a whole different story. Um,
Nah, it's the same story.
nah,
But
we're getting rid of Mexicans.
right,
We're so well getting rid of Mexicans.
right.
You still, the funny thing about it is you don't. But then I was looking at, it, I was like, what was black people of color doing during that time frame? If we went through a Great Depression, and then I go and I look at the Harlem Renaissance and seeing how we was booming, but then you just turn around and you killed it when you said all these fires, these cities doing this, these cities getting burned down. How is it that we went through a depression?
Let me
Who went through a depression? Who was the depression on?
right. That's the question, isn't it?
We have wars
Okay.
to steal land. You're right, sister. Wars were to steal land.
Always, always. Like
Always.
I said, you can't publicize genocide. So you got to make it look. When you win, you get to tell the story. You see what I'm saying? So
Marvin is on it today.
when
Yes,
you win,
Marvin. Cherokees are Chickasaw, 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 Creek, Seminoles. Hey, you also got to add Blackfoot in there too.
yeah,
That's that region. That's the region where we from. If you go back
exactly.
and you look at it, that's the region of what we from. We are from those tribes. So you won't ever hear me say I'm a slave or
Let,
I.
let me jump in, Big. Let me jump in
Go
because, like I said, because we live in this time era, right?
this time, Mary. Go for it.
We live in this time era. We don't really understand the concept of time because
Got
we'll talk about tribes,
got it.
but when you talk about a tribe, your mind instantaneously goes to somebody in a teepee or somebody in a mud hut or somebody,
That's you looking at that's early 1600s.
or you're looking at mound people, right? No, even that.
I was
That's what I'm saying, B.
I
1600.
was saying
That
before that. I was
is
saying
like
before that.
way
But go ahead.
before that. Let me take you through history just a little bit, if I
Go ahead.
can, because I see in the chat they mentioned Moors, right? And
Yeah.
Moors is a broad statement too, but
Mars is a lot deeper than what we think it is, but keep going.
it's a broader statement too. But we're talking about melanated people,
Go
right?
ahead. Yeah.
So if the Moors went into Europe in 700 AD, and they civilized Europe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the buildings, the structures, everything changed for Europe, correct? But these Moors came out of North Africa, correct?
Facts.
Well, let's say allegedly.
Go ahead.
Allegedly.
I got you.
So
I'm
they
with you.
built cities in Africa,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be from Carthage, all the
Morocco.
way, all the way down central Africa, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have structures.
Mm-hmm.
So you telling me the Moors were in the Americas and didn't build structures, and they were there thousands of years also. So if the Moors were in the Americas, don't you think they would have built structures also?
Hey,
Because that's what they do is build structures, right? And see, like I said, we use the term more loosely, and I know people are going to fight me on that, and I understand it, but it's still a loose term because you're not understanding the depth of time. Over time, things change. Over time, diction changes. Over time, etymology changes. Over time, you know, how we um, pronounce things changes, right?
mm-hmm.
So, so we're looking at things in 1,000, 2,000 year period because y'all are Christians, and that's how your mind is set in 2000, 2000, 2000. That's the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? But we don't understand that it's hundreds of thousands of years of history,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've been building structures for hundreds of thousands of years. If you look at, uh, if you just look at the Mediterranean, North Africa's, or all through there, and all the languages that we use today, these modern languages, the Phoenicians language system is the ones that all these languages are built upon, from English to French to Spanish to Greek, right? Phoenicians. Phoenicians were sailors. They sailed all around the world. You're talking about 50,000 years ago. So,
What
and
is it?
these were melanated people,
Are they the ones that started the Roman Empire?
in essence, yes.
Okay. All right. Keep going. Keep going.
So, so you talking about these Phoenician people that were all around the world. They give you your present day language structure,
Mm.
but yet in America they had teepees and mud huts when by the time the Europeans got here. And these
Mm.
teepees and mud huts is where these Moors were in. Come on, man. You got to. History is so much deeper and so much richer than we think.
Facts.
You know, it's not that these people were not in Indians in deer skins, and these people were dressed. These people were cultured. They had a trade system that they had been running for tens of thousands of years, from the Americas to Africa to the Mediterranean to a road system that went through China, that went through Russia. These are Moorish or melanated people,
Mm.
but we don't think large enough, man. We don't think deep enough. That's why we're trapped in their wordplay.
Facts.
But go
I
ahead.
mean, I mean, no, no, it makes sense. It makes sense. But I tell you what, well, they own it right now. Let me see. The sister brought up. She was talking about the group. Mm. But always, yes. The point is, we keep going by a certain history of telling us what we see now are Native Americans, and it's more of when you study history and you keep reading, the first thing they're going to tell you is they look the same complexion as Africans, and it's kind of more look at the region where you at.
Right.
You cannot. I mean, you got to look at it. Boy, we about to start a damn war on here.
No.
For instance,
No. No.
no,
Don't
we
start
try
with.
not to. We trying to be. We
Let,
trying
let
to
me
be
let
good.
me let me say this, big.
All right, go ahead, because I'm
So,
gonna go in. I'm gonna go in. Go ahead.
and I love Taj Bay too.
Yeah,
Uh,
guys be getting it in.
Extremely intelligent brother. Um, but a lot of people don't understand
Oh,
legalese,
yeah, of
right?
course.
Legalese is a whole nother language, and it's a
Etymology. How you say it? Etymology.
etymology.
Yeah,
But
etymology.
that's science. That's etymology of every word has an etymology. But I'm
Facts.
saying legalese, and
Facts.
legalese is a language that lawyers and judges use.
The black laws.
And that's where the words are in the black laws. But legalese is what they use in court. That's why we don't understand what's going on, and that's a whole nother language. That's a whole nother show. But what I'm saying is that if we had an understanding of how long we've been in the Americas,
That's the
because
process.
when we use tribal names, those names were given,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
We're trying to assume or place ourselves in a history of words that were given instead of understanding what were those words 100,000 years ago. What were those words 200,000 years ago? Who were those people? Because we say African. African is a collection of 256 countries. You know, it's a continent. Um, what country are you relegated to? And if you look at the history of the African continent, it was so much migration, you know, like the center. Everybody came to the center. Nobody is a true Nigerian. They're all from different places. And there's a collection of different people. Um, And I'm not here to debate which side we came from first, because
No.
we're all melanated and we
Facts.
all seem to be in the same mental struggle.
Mm.
Um,
It's funny that we are, and we don't even pay no attention to that shit.
yeah, and that's by design.
But I was getting ready to throw something at you
Throw something at 'em.
because I was sitting here and I was reading that's old Ellis Island, and that's seeing the number of people that came through. So you're looking at least a 30-year span, and how history, well, not history of technology. Then they came on steamboats.
Go ahead.
How the fuck did we say we got all these Africans here on a fucking slave ship and they use sails? Somebody make it make sense, man.
I'm not. First of all, I'm not even gonna discuss slavery.
No, but but from what we've
What you've
been
been
taught.
taught. What that's part of history, right?
Yeah,
That's
that's part
that's
of
the that's part
it's part of a. I'm not.
that's part of the narrative.
All right, we'll go
It's
with the narrative. We go with the narrative because
and
it's not
it's
history because it's no proven facts on anything that they put out there.
but you don't have to prove facts. All you have to do is keep saying it enough to where you hear it enough that it becomes true, right? Because let's look at it from this standpoint. Uh, you said steamships. When? When did you say steamships?
19, 1892 through 1929.
So 1892, you had steamships, right?
Facts.
So if that means that the technology for that was being developed prior to 1892, right? So you're talking about slavery happening, um, what, 60 years prior to that. So you had to have better ships than the sailboats that brought 20, 30 people at a time. So, and plus, I don't think that they had the capability of that kind of logistics where
No,
you were shipping that many humans uh, over the time period that it took to get to the Americas. Um, I think now, don't get me wrong, slavery did happen. There's still slavery
prisoners of
going on
war. They just
right
want to say
now.
prisoners of war.
You know, yeah, there's slavery going on right now. Um,
Ooh.
so,
Damn, I got to go to work tomorrow.
yeah,
But no, no, no. But when I was saying that is it's kind of like how we keep going the narrative because if we was already here and we found out when they first came here they brought the Black Plague here and it wiped out many of our ancestors. And then
you
we
say the Black Plague?
yeah,
Okay.
in their blankets.
Oh, you talking about smallpox?
Smallpox.
Yeah.
Fucking that's part of Black. That's what the Black Plague was, smallpox, right?
No.
Oh fuck. My bad. All right, my bad. I'm
no,
sorry.
no, no.
Smallpox.
A
They
quick
brought
history of
smallpox.
that. A quick history, because that was the 1300s when the Black Plague devastated Europe, right? The
Wow.
Black Plague came from people used to keep animals in their houses
Mhm.
and they didn't have a sewer system. So the sewers ran in the streets, and so the rats were contaminated, which contaminated the animals, which contaminated the people that kept the animals in their houses. So the Black Plague ran rampant inside of Europe for that reason.
It's funny.
Um,
Europe had all this shit going on, and they had a fucking. How did it? It's interesting. It's interesting as fuck when you study because you when you study history itself, you hear a little bit about the Black Plague, and then all of a sudden the Renaissance.
yeah,
You skip almost 300 to 400 years, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? But now it's more of when you study history and you read. Reading is important. The reason why they don't want you to read is because it's certain things they want to teach you. They don't want to teach you the ugly side or the dark side of the history of how this country became what it is. They stole our land. They killed our ancestors. They killed our grandmas and our great grandpas. They found ways to because I mean, if you go back and look at a lot of the land, you had because it's people that had hundreds of acres. You just had a group of people walk up and say, "Hey, I want your land." Now,
let me
by force, they just
right,
kill the head, and then everybody else takes off.
right.
Now we have the
Let
government that
me say
walk up.
this, B.
Go ahead.
Uh, first of all, Marvin, that is exactly what I'm saying. Uh, number two is that when you have people that had land and you killed the people, they didn't really have. We didn't really deal with deeds,
Mhm.
not in that manner.
It's
And
more of
so
a
when you
respect.
kill the people, you assume the land. You know what I'm saying? Now, when we were doing deeds, when it got more towards the 1900s, um, when it got towards the 1900s, that's what the Depression was all about. That was to collapse the banks and people that, if we did have money in the banks, it would be taken. And
So
if there were deeds inside of that bank, they would be collected and assumed upon, right? And
mm,
so that was the financial piece of the puzzle, in which they knew they couldn't physically overtake us. So everything, if you think about it, is done through laws and through the financial system, which is still going on today. And because that we have accepted being U.S. citizens and that we're
mm.
citizens, now we have to abide by the law of the corporation because we're citizens of that corporation. This is why we're in the turmoil that we're in. Um, but that's I ain't gonna take us off the point, but I 100% am saying that it's all a facade because um, sometimes, like I said, when you win and you are just declared the winner, you get to tell the story the way you want to tell it. Um, if we're in a race, right,
Mhm.
and we finish this 100-meter race, and I won by a hundredth of a second, I can tell the story to people I'm talking to. Yeah, man, I blew him out. You know, Brown was like 5 steps behind me. But when you look at it, it just says winner and loser. You know what I'm saying? But I can detail it any way I want to. I could even say, yeah, I slipped at the beginning. I was caught up and I still beat him. I can tell the story of being the winner any way that I choose to tell it. And so if I want to hide genocide, I just put it in a book and make children learn it. Because from one generation to the next, history is forgotten because I'm always pushing this in your face. And that's how you change history is through generations. I make you tell this story. See, Brian and me, myself, we could tell history that was taught to us, you know, in the early 80s. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what was taught to us. But it's different than what we know now to be the truth. So that tells you that was a part of a plan of indoctrination for our people.
Hold up, let me throw something at you.
Throw something else.
Freedmen banks. Would they consider the banks where all the black people were putting their money in and then it closed down and took all their money and all their land? So it wasn't the
Yes.
first collapse.
It didn't
Banking
collapse.
collapse.
You talking about that's the bank that Frederick Douglass was the president of, the Freedmen Banks, and it was, and as it said, free men. That's what we were. That was our designation because we were not slaves. Um, yes, it was a part of the collapse, but more so than the collapse, they just outright stole the money from black people.
3 million. $3 million. And then we going back to
And that was in the bank, right?
1874.
So think of the value that is in today's term.
Hmm.
And that was just
Hmm.
what was in the bank. That's not like holdings as far as maybe they had stock holdings, maybe they had land holdings, and all those papers were taken. So
So they say the modern day with equivalent of $66 million.
And that was just in that area.
That's right after slavery. Interesting. After the Emancipation Proclamation.
that's a story within itself. That
Mm.
was emancipating. Just look up the word emancipation, and that'll tell you. Now, listen, a lot of people believe that freed somebody, but it didn't. When you look up the word emancipation, the second part of it says proclamation. Proclamation is not a law. It's just a proclamation. It's something that you announced. It's not a law. The etymology of anything would clear up. Like I said, legalese, man, it's a different language. If you understand it, emancipating is something that you do for a child. And proclamation is no more than just an announcement. You'll see that nothing happened.
So they're trying to get this whole situation of, I think, this whole immigration situation. This is the reason why I brought it up, because of what immigration, the whole main cause of immigration of today, and what they did then. But you brought in a bunch of people, and you kicked out a lot of people, but you're still bringing in people. So now we have this issue at the southern border.
Right.
Some of it we don't know what's true. Is just speculations of letting millions of people in, but then at the same time, they always go to vote, vote, vote. Millions of people come in here and they making these. That's why I don't like this whole Democratic Republican bullshit, because they use it as a scare tactic.
Right.
Well, now we got all these gangs taking over shit. Gangs taking over.
Man, go here with this.
I mean, it's more of fear. If I keep you scared,
Keep them scared.
all right. I mean, I got to say everybody in general, but
No, you gotta say. Listen, let me tell you this: if you put sheep and lion together, right, you can intimidate sheep.
Yeah, sheep. All you need is one.
Right.
One with the bell.
So I mean, it's easy to intimidate sheep. That's all I'm gonna say. What did you say prior to that? Because there was a point. I dropped my pen. I was wanting to make a point on that. About the immigration, right? Now think about it from this perspective. Is the United States, do they have one of the best armies, if not the best army in the world?
Yeah, it's one of the strongest. That's what
Okay.
they base their fear off of.
Okay. So what about Navy? Same thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're telling me that you can't intimidate the country of Mexico to keep your people there?
With
So you telling me
technology that we got today, which is crazy.
So you telling me if the United States says to Mexico, stop letting your people come across this border, or there will be sanctions, or there will be actions against you?
Oh boy, you just fucking with. I'm gonna keep going with this because I know we weren't supposed to go on this long, but keep going.
So I'm saying, doesn't that make sense? Why are we talking about stopping people after they have come into the country instead of going to the source of who's allowing these people to come over? Because these people coming to the Americas is a huge part of their economy. Because all that money is sent back. And then once you take it from a dollar to the peso, these people are making killing. It's a huge part of their economy.
Mm.
So you could cripple their economy by stopping the people from coming over.
Facts. Damn. God damn, Jerome. That's why I don't like you. But no, that makes sense. But then at the same time, a lot of people need to also pay attention to what we did to these especially Southern America, when we went in there and started fighting these wars.
Bro, we didn't do nothing to them.
No, I mean, we destroyed their structure. So
we didn't do
everything
nothing to them.
We didn't do nothing. So what we do? What we do?
I mean, look at it. So California was held And when I say California, I'm talking about, like you said, California, Nevada, Washington, Oregon. This whole section, right,
Got it.
was being held by Spain.
Spain.
You see how small Spain is of a country? You know they didn't have the troops to hold it. How were they holding this large territory?
Okay.
It's because there wasn't that many people there.
Mm.
If it had been heavily populated, Spain didn't have enough people, or Spain didn't have enough warriors to hold Florida and that region, as vast as it was.
That's why Spain and Portugal fucking joined forces.
Portugal's, it ain't
Portugal's
even
smaller
a
shit.
third the size of Spain.
True.
I mean, so even Portugal, when they first came to the Americas, because they were actually the first Europeans to come to the Americas, but they came with the Moors. I mean, when I say come with them, I'm talking about we're being guided by the Moors. You know, their first fort was on the PD River in South Carolina. It was like 1570s, 1560s, somewhere in there.
Yeah, they kept dying.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying they didn't have that many people, right? They still don't have the population to go to war. They can't go to war with anybody. Who can they go to war with right now? So what I'm telling you is all of this facade is so big, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
That's
You
why I like how we get to talking. We so all over the place, we can't stay nowhere. There go Brother Wathrow. How you come on here so late, man? We already been on here an hour and a half.
brother, he done come in.
Yeah, he just jumped in.
Peace, brother.
Peace.
Peace.
But it does make some sense when we get to. I guess this is the uncomfortable part about history when we get to talking about it, and if you got knowledge to talk about it, you get looked at as where you get that information from. That's a bunch of bullshit.
When
You
it
know,
don't fit the narrative.
yeah, nothing fits a narrative because what narrative is trying to be proven out there? Because right now, I'm telling you now, it's about to get crazy. But at the same time, am I worried about it? No. Am I worried about either one of these people becoming the so-called CEO of this corporation called America? United States.
Yeah.
Am I
I
worried
mean,
about
big. All that has been worked out. They already
it?
know
Yeah,
who's going to be in leadership. They know this
yeah.
10 years prior. You know, that was the prepping of Obama. He was made
Came
for
out of
that
nowhere.
position. You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
It's funny. It's part of the Bush
just
family.
look up the Bilderberg group, and you'll have a better understanding of how they create presidents. But and,
CEOs.
and
CEOs.
right, and like I said, that right there, I don't know. I ain't even gonna get into that. We'll do that on another show.
Gotcha.
The structure of
Yeah.
America, because that's what it is. It's the structure of this corporation. You know, just like any corporation, man. You know, you change out um, people on the board. You know
True.
what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that's how that works. Everybody gets their turn because if you think that you have a two-party system that works from the same place and you actually got a choice, you're really confused. You know what I'm saying? A two-party system should have more than two parties. I mean, a system that is not controlled should have more than two parties.
Mhm.
So how is it that somebody from the Green Party or independent has never won?
Oh, we're gonna get into
Never,
another shit. Never.
never.
Never,
So,
ever.
so, so that's for you to believe that you have a choice is crazy. It's just like being led to slaughter. You can go in the left or the right. It don't matter. You still getting slaughtered, but you got the illusion of your choice.
Hmm. God damn it, wrong. God damn it, wrong. Because I know we weren't supposed to be on this long, but we needed to get back home because we just needed to. Hell, this is therapy for me just to talk about this because there'd be so
Right.
much in my head. I got to get this shit out.
For everybody that came in late, I would tell you to rewatch this once we put it back on. Um, and you can still comment. We'll go back through the comments and work for later shows.
Because we're getting back into this history. Um, Peace, brother Watho, for jumping in on it. Brother Marvin, we gotta get you
Oh
back
yeah,
on, man.
and
Um,
the
Sister
sister.
Harris Southern, did I say it right? Did I say it right or did I say it wrong? Because I trust you, man. It's that South Carolina English, that South Carolina
Harris,
Harris.
Harris Southern,
Harris Southern.
Harris.
Peace and thank you. Thank you for just listening. Appreciate you. So, we just getting back on. We gotta get some stuff going on. I know future for what I want to talk about is the Iguanqua. Damn it, me pushing up a fucking word again. The- oh, so fucking funny. But no,
You talking about the Indians of the northern region Indians.
yeah, and how they help put together this whole constitution. Is actually the constitution is that's a whole different story of how they took one thing and then brought it over and said this is what we're doing. So you copied. It's like
Oh,
you
you
just
talking about the Iroquois
Iroquois.
and
Damn it,
the
Iroquois. Not
Algonquins.
right.
The
Algonquins.
Algonquins were the people that were in the New York area.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you're talking about the Iroquois conference.
yeah. So we got to definitely get into that in the Albany conference of I think it's 1754, and which leads up to this whole.
See, now think about that, B. So you had that conference in 1754, and then you had the Revolutionary War in 1776.
Oh shit. Yeah, it's funny.
But go ahead. I digress.
All right, let me get my last words in because we're gonna have to end this off. But
Right.
I appreciate everybody coming on. I appreciate everybody that's listening. We are also on this Facebook. Now we also on Facebook, but mostly we're on a whole YouTube under the Three Headed Monster podcast. Again, we give you our opinions. Again, it's our opinions on what our thoughts. We don't want you to believe us. Want you to research for yourself. We definitely want you to research for yourself. But actually, the one thing I do put it out there is understand who you are. Stop being led by trying to be a part of something that's not meant for you. The universe created us as individuals, and that's something that that's the respect that we have. Respect is something that we don't follow these days. And that's something that I try my best to carry to a certain aspect is respect you and respect the character that you bring. I don't listen to a bunch of other people, outside people, to try to guide me on what the universe is trying to tell me to do. But you have to believe in yourself. You got to understand yourself. You have to love yourself because once you don't love yourself, you're easy to join another fascist to feel love. Um, if you don't love yourself, you can't love others. If you don't respect yourself, you can't respect others. So I always would tell you to look in the mirror and say, I love you. And don't be afraid that the mirror will say, in that person in that mirror to say, I love you back. Mental health is something that we try to downplay. That is important because if you're not you, well, who are you? So that's why feel like people today is they join anything, they believe anything because they don't want to study their self. All you have to do is listen to yourself. Your inner man, your inner conscience, your inner being is telling you so much, and you're fighting not to hear it, not to listen. But respect. Respect goes a long way. Respect goes a long way. I respect you, respect me. We can be on a friendly, cordial relationship. But other than that, man, I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. But go ahead, Jerome. Finish it off for
Now you
us.
you had a big key with self love. Self love is key. Once you love yourself, you have the courage to start to understand yourself and to
Mhm.
see yourself in a different light. Let me say this, and I'll end with this. So the world was built under the sun.
Mm,
The sun gives every plant life.
mm,
The sun, uh, when it hits water, it evaporates, makes clouds, it makes the system, the ecosystem work. The sun gives animals life. The sun gives life to everything. So people that built this world had to work under the sun, and they were naturally uh, made to live in the sun. That's why they're children of the sun.
ooh,
You have to question anything that the sun kills. If the sun kills you, then you weren't made to be in the sun. Then you
mm,
was not the builder or the original builder on this earth. So I'm just saying the sun. I'm not mentioning any group of people. I'm just telling you the sun will tell you the truth about this earth. You've
mm.
been around much longer than you are taught. You've been around hundreds of thousands of years. There's been structures for that time that's been built upon, that's been destroyed and rebuilt upon. So just know everything that you hear, research it and let it make sense to you. Write all these dates down and put them in order. And then psych use your psyche to say, could that have all happened at this time? So I'll say that, leave you with that. Peace and love. Um, man, I appreciate y'all being on and listening to us.
Hey, y'all, it's the three-headed monster, y'all. Peace out.
Peace.